Now, if you're like me, or you've played Borderlands 2 for a long time, I'm sure you've been put in one of those spots where your best option is just to go throw money at Moxi's tip jar for one of her signature SMGs. Well, it just so happens that she actually has a lot more of those trademark guns out there than just the 2 SMGs that you can get from her bar. But they all have 2 things in common: sexual names and healing based on the damage you deal. You have assault rifles like the Kitten that shoots in the pattern of a smiley face, the Hail, which literally rains bullets down on enemies, a rocket launcher very generously dubbed the Creamer, the infamous Grog Nozzle, and shotguns like the Heartbreaker or the Slow Hand. I've decided that I'm going to beat Borderlands 2 on OP10 using only these Moxi weapons. But first, let me go over the rules. I have to play on OP10 difficulty. I can only use Moxi weapons. Because of the weird scaling of OP10, I've allowed myself the use of a shield and class mod, but no grenade mod or relic. I cannot use badass rank, and I must beat the main scenario and the warrior to consider it complete. Now all that was left was for me to choose the Vault Hunter. I really wasn't sure who to go with here, so I kinda just said screw it and went with Maya for 2 reasons. For one, I figured her action skill phase lock would just be really good for general crowd control and applying slag to the OP10 enemies. And secondly, I figured her skill tree, which gave me a lot of damage and healing, would really complement the Moxi guns. As far as gear was concerned, I kept things pretty simple. I just went with an inventory full of Moxi's guns, naturally, the Rough Rider shield so I could take advantage of Maya's fleet ability and go fast, and the legendary Siren mod, well, because I like damage. I think that about covers all the boring stuff, so without a further ado, let's crank that OP level and hop right into it. So Ultimate Vault Hunter mode actually starts you a good bit ahead of where Claptrap would normally find you in the snow, but no run would be complete without turning around and killing everybody's favorite snow monkey, Knuckle Dragger. And it was here where I first got to see some of the Moxi guns' damage, and it had me feeling pretty optimistic about the run overall. And I actually get the Hornet to drop here, and it took every fiber of my being to not go down there and check it, but I didn't want to check it because I knew I couldn't use it. But with that box checked, it was off to kill the local thugs and critters of Liarsburg. And it was here where I really got to test my inventory of Moxi weapons, as you can see me just running around equipping different ones, seeing what does damage, seeing what doesn't do damage, and quickly realizing that this challenge might not be as easy as I thought it was going to be. But I had hope, because I didn't even come close to dying here. Anyways, with the power back on in Liarsburg, I followed Claptrap to the explosive twins, Boom and Boom. Now the Boom Boom fight has always been a bit of a pushover, but god dang does Big Bertha hit different. So my first objective was I have to get him out of that turret. So I run up there and I start with the Kitten, which was doing, pretty good damage, but it really wasn't the best either. So I pretty much just have to run loops around the turret so it doesn't just one-shot me. And eventually I decided to switch to the Hail to see if that would do better for me. And it did. It definitely did more damage because I wasn't even getting the damage bonus from having the little boom phase lock, and it was still doing just fine. So after a little bit of just spraying the Hail into the side of Big Bertha, I finally got Big Boom out of his freaking high chair, which turned this fight into kind of easy mode because I could just phase lock both of them. So after killing Big Boom, I switch over to Miss Moxi's Bad Touch and phase lock Little Boom and just absolutely melt the guy. I mean, he really just stood no chance. But with that done, I shot Claptrap in his stupid little face, and off to Flint I went. But I was thinking, like, come on, it's Captain Flint. How hard could it really be? I'll just phase lock the guy and shoot him, and I'm dead. but it ended up being not that bad. That was my only death, and with a little perseverance and the help of Miss Moxxi's electric slow hand, I was able to beat Captain Flint, go talk with Claptrap, get on his boat, and off I went. I fixed myself up a death trap of a vehicle and was supposed to find a pimentaco in the glove box, but I never did get that. Which I then used to smash some guy into this wall, and then was swiftly denied entry into Sanctuary. I really can't imagine why. I went and helped out this Corporal Reese guy, and for some reason his dying words was to tell me that the price of entry to Sanctuary was a Duracell 9-volt battery, which I didn't have. So I walked over here and killed this guy and took his. With the price of entry in my back pocket, I finally made my way into Sanctuary. But can you believe it? They even made me plug the dang thing in. And I must have been really good at it, because then they made me run around and plug even more stuff in. I mean, are you kidding me, guys? What do I look like? But of course, when I finally got to talk to Roland, he's not here. Apparently, he got kidnapped by this Firehawk guy, and surprise, surprise, I gotta go save him. However, there was one saving grace of this seemingly endless free labor. I got to go visit our patron deity herself, Moxi, and she was even kind enough to grace us with a measly $400 to $500 tip. Hallelujah! It didn't take me long before I found myself running through the Frostburn Canyon and coming face to face with the Firehawk. I mean, this guy's got to be pretty bad news, right? And it's a she. And she's hot. And apparently a drug addict. Sick.
Yeah, that's the stuff. Give it here.
You know, I should really probably be talking about the Moxi weapon some, but at this point, I'm really just doing like general mobbing stuff, so the slow hand is kind of just king. And I kind of expect to use some other guns when it comes to bosses and stuff. Before I knew it, I found myself honking at the Bloodshot Stronghold gates. Now, I don't know what it was, but my vehicle must have not been hot enough because they did not want to let me in. Hey, now that's what I'm talking about. Ain't no way they don't let me in now. I knew it. Bunch of simps. I shot this guy a bunch because he was trying his best to guard the bridge, but there was just no way it was working out. Then I shot my way through the endless bandits of the stronghold, and before I knew it, I was shooting Warden in the eye to save Roland's sorry behind. Mission accomplished. So then they said, go to the Tundra Express. So I was like, yes, boss. Lit some crickets on fire because apparently that's the best way to wake someone up. I don't know. Grabbed these 2 rockets, which Tina so graciously strapped her favorite bunny rabbits to. And then it was Wilhelm time. There's no way we can beat him, right? I mean, there's just no way. All jokes aside though, I was a little bit worried going into this fight as I really wasn't sure how well my weapons would do. But just so it turns out, the Hail came in clutch as the MVP of this fight. And I totally did not die here. I mean, come on, Wilhelm's already dead. What could I have died to? So I grabbed the second battery and went back to Sanctuary. Plugged it in. I mean, this one's got to be better, right? I mean, it has to be. Well. Then I ran myself through the fridge. Emphasis on ran. God, this place sucks. Then I killed this godforsaken Thresher to get the supply beacon. Then once again, I was in FPS dropped city. I had never done this mission before in OP10, and I actually found out something new about this mission. If you fail to protect the beacon enough, it will make the dang thing immortal and literally just give you the mission for free as long as you can just kill what's left. But it was back to Sanctuary. But hey, it's flying now, and my slave drive ever continues. Which led me to meet up with Mordecai. You remember this guy? You know, the fire cricket alarm? And it looked like he had a pretty detailed plan for us here. Yeah, I'm good on that. I'm just going to run to the next objective. Which led me to this loader that was trying to cosplay as Gandalf. The Bloodwing fight was actually pretty obnoxious because I was mainly relying on the hail for damage. And because of the way it shoots, I pretty much had to wait until Bloodwing landed to do any meaningful DPS. But when she did, before I knew it, I was standing in front of the Slab King. And for some reason, he just really wanted me to kill all of his guys. So I really didn't mind. Threw on the slow hand, phase locked a few of them, and just went to town. and you already know I had to do it to this guy. Shot some loaders with brick, then I shot some more loaders with brick, and that earned me his undying respect with the Slab King himself. Angel said go kill some guy and steal his voice. Well, alright, if you say so. Done, and done. Easy enough. So I started my fight up to the bunker, and nothing could have prepared me for the true raid boss of this area. I probably, no joke, sat behind this box and shot this thing like this for 4 or 5 minutes. Then it was time for the dreaded BNK3R. But it really wasn't a problem at all, as the Hail had a pretty good matchup against the bunker. So it took a little bit, but this is pretty much all it was. And then before you know it, it was dead. I walked downstairs, and then I looked this wall right in the eyes and told it that I loved it. Walked in here and met Angel, then I shot her life support, and then she died. And then I found a world drop gunner ring out of this red crate. Roland died too, but what was important was the gunner ring. Then I got denied access to the next area yet again. Went to Sawtooth, killed the 4 ambush commanders, and frickin' smoked Mortar in his stupid elevator. Shortly after, I grabbed the 4 Odomo charges and got the hell out of there. Then the ladder fell off of where I had to go next, and instead of, I don't know, just picking it back up and setting it against the pipe, Mordecai had the genius idea that the only solution was to simply blow it up. If I'm gonna be honest, I really cannot explain to you the amount of dread I was feeling as I walked through Firestone towards the Saturn fight, as I knew what was coming for me. Yep. Ah yes, my favorite. But then I mustered up as much willpower as I could, all that was left from Saturn having stomped me over and over, shot as much assault rifle and shotgun ammo into the prick as I could until he finally keeled over. Grabbed this thing and then freaking dipped. And I totally talked to everybody like they wanted me to before we went to the final battle. While waiting on Claptrap to put the freaking schmooves on this AI chick, I ran around and killed a bunch of loaders. Using a good variety of Moxi's weapons and the power of phase lock, I fought my way through the Hero's Pass. And all I know is these 2 goofballs deserve a freaking Emmy for this one.
I got you, Mordecai. No, Brick! No!
And then it was finally time for the final fight of Borderlands 2 against the Warrior.
It's off my planet. When you get to hell.
You know, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you guys, I died in the Jack fight way more times than I'm willing to admit, so I think I'm just going to cut to the part where he bugged out and I just shot him to death with a slow hand. Awesome. Now bring me that warrior. Wait a minute. Something's not right. No joke though, this fight took forever, and I died a lot. So I'm going to use this chance to talk about the Moxi weapons and what I thought about the run overall. With the Moxi guns lacked in damage, they certainly made up for in their healing factor. I think if it wasn't for the fact that they healed, they would have been literally useless for the majority of the playthrough. The Hail stood out exceptionally as being my primary boss killer, while the Kitten and the Slow Hand reigned supreme in the mobbing sections of the game. I kind of felt like the SMGs, the Crit, the Bad Touch, and the Good Touch, and even the Heartbreaker were a bit lacking overall, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were useless and they didn't put in work in certain situations. Without the Grog Nozzle, I don't even know if this final fight would have been possible. I mean, I had to use it to heal so many times, where the other weapons just wouldn't have done enough damage to heal me before I got hit again. That could just be a player skill issue though. The Creamer? Garbage. That's really all I gotta say about it. I know I left the Ruby out of this run, but because it was essentially just an inferior Grog Nozzle, I didn't think it was really necessary. This challenge ended up being a lot of fun actually. I got to use a lot of guns that I never really gave a proper chance, and I even did Moxi proud while doing so. And it got to answer my question from the beginning of the video. Yes, you can beat Borderlands 2 while only using Moxi's signature weapons.
Earned it! I could have saved.
It's over. It's finally over. Good going, Vault Hunter. You are a badass. Now,